I still remember the look in Jack's eyes when he came into my office that rainy afternoon in Boston. He was 67, recently retired, a father of 3, and a former engineer. But that day, he wasn't the confident problem solver his family knew. He sat quietly, stared at the floor, and said, "Doc, something's changed. I don't feel like myself anymore. Now I've been practicing medicine for over 30 years. My name is Dr. Mark Hyman, MD. I'm a practicing physician, a functional medicine pioneer, and I've helped tens of thousands of men navigate aging with strength, clarity, and dignity." But what Jack said, I've heard it hundreds of times before, whispered in waiting rooms, confessed in hushed tones over telehealth calls. It's always the same feeling. I think I've lost something down there. And you know what? They're not wrong, but they're not right either. You see, we've been told a lie that aging naturally means giving up desire, connection, even identity. But that's not biology. It's resignation. What's really happening? Your body is trying to get your attention. Your blood isn't flowing like it used to. Inflammation is creeping into your pelvic tissues. Your nervous system is pulling back, not out of failure, but self-protection. This isn't the end. It's a signal. A blinking light on the dashboard of your manhood saying, "Hey, don't ignore me. Something still works here. You just need to listen." And that's where I come in. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how something as simple as castor oil and baking soda, yes, really can restore what aging tried to steal. But first, I need you to believe this. You're not broken. You're not too late. You're right on time. I'll be honest, when I first heard about castor oil and baking soda being used to help men in their 60s and 70s feel alive again, I laughed. It sounded like something you'd find in your grandma's medicine cabinet. But then I started seeing the results. Not just 1 or 2 cases, dozens. And that changed everything for me. Let me take you back to a moment that still gives me chills. Michael was 71, a retired school principal from Columbus, Ohio. He came to see me after trying just about everything: prescriptions, testosterone creams, even a costly implant he deeply regretted. Nothing worked. "Doc," he said, "I feel numb, not just physically. I mean all of it." That night, I went home and pulled out an old research file on castor oil, how it's been used to reduce inflammation, promote circulation, and even stimulate the lymphatic system. And I thought, what if we paired that with baking soda, nature's tissue softener, known for breaking down acidity and stiffness? We tried it just once, then twice, then 3 times a week. Michael would warm a tablespoon of castor oil, mix in half a teaspoon of baking soda, and gently massage it into his lower abdomen and inner thighs. No pressure, no rush, just attention. 3 weeks later, he came back, and he didn't say a word at first. He just stood there, smiling. Then finally he said, "It's like someone turned the lights back on." It wasn't magic. It was biology working the way it was meant to. Once the right support was given, the tissues softened, blood flowed again, sensation returned. This isn't about quick fixes. It's about real tools. Tools that support your body, not override it. And it starts with what's already sitting in your kitchen. Let me tell you about someone who reminded me why I do this work in the first place. His name was Charles. He was 69, a Vietnam veteran from Charleston, South Carolina. Stoic, tough, The kind of man who didn't complain easily. But when he walked into my clinic, I could see something had shifted in him. "Doc," he said, "I feel like I've disappeared." His voice cracked on that last word. He wasn't just talking about intimacy or sensation, though that was part of it. He was talking about identity, about waking up and not recognizing the man in the mirror. We talked about his health. His numbers weren't terrible. His testosterone was low, but within range. No major diseases. But what he was feeling, the distance, the dullness, the silence down there, it was real. And I knew it wasn't just about age. I walked him through what I'd seen before, when blood flow starts to slow, when tissues thicken with inflammation, when nerves lose their spark, the body starts to whisper, "I need help." And if we ignore that whisper long enough, it starts to shut down parts of us that make us feel like us. So we started simple. He followed the protocol I gave Michael, the same castor oil and baking soda blend, applied with patience and care. But more importantly, I asked him to reconnect not just physically, but emotionally, to stop avoiding that part of himself. 4 weeks later, he came back. He wasn't just standing taller, he was laughing. "Doc," he said, "I didn't think I'd ever feel this again, this alive." That's when I realized this wasn't about fixing something broken. It was about returning to something lost. And that starts with listening to your body instead of fighting it. One thing I've learned after decades in medicine, even the best remedies can fail if they're not used the right way. That's especially true for something as subtle and powerful as this blend. So when I teach this to my patients, I treat it not like a medical routine, but like a ritual, something sacred, something that reminds your body it's still loved, still worthy of care. Here's exactly what I told Aaron, 66, a retired firefighter from Tucson, Arizona, a man used to running into burning buildings without hesitation, but now struggling to face his own reflection. "Aaron," I said, "you're not just applying oil, you're reconnecting with your body. So slow down, breathe, make it count. Start with a clean, quiet space. No TV, no phone, just you and your body. Mix 1 tablespoon of organic castor oil with half a teaspoon of baking soda. Stir until smooth. Then gently warm the mixture just enough to feel comforting. Never hot. Apply it to your lower abdomen, the crease of your groin, and the inner thighs, the 3 power lines that feed blood flow where it matters most. Use circular motions. Let your hands send a message. Wake up. You're safe. You're still needed. Aaron added one extra step I now recommend to everyone. He placed a warm towel over the area for 25 minutes. It allowed the oil to sink deeper, to speak more clearly to the tissue. And he didn't stop there. While the warmth worked, he closed his eyes, focused on breathing, on listening, on remembering who he was before the noise, before the shame. Within 2 weeks, he told me he was sleeping better. Within 4, he said, "Doc, I didn't expect this to change how I walk into a room." That's the power of intention. It's not just the what, it's the how. And when you do it right, your body listens. There's something powerful most men forget as they age. Their own body holds the keys to healing. We're so conditioned to look outward for pills, for procedures, for quick fixes that we overlook what's already in our hands. Let me tell you about Raymond, 72, a retired piano tuner from Seattle. He wasn't new to discomfort decades of bending over instruments had worn on his back and legs. But this was different. I feel disconnected. He told me, like the spark's gone. I introduced him to something I've taught dozens of men over the years, a set of pressure points that can boost circulation and awaken the nervous system when used with the castor oil blend. It's not magic. It's physiology. The first point is at the base of your wrist, in the soft hollow between two tendons. I call it the switch. Apply gentle pressure. For 60 seconds, it calms the heart and opens blood vessels. The second is 4 fingers up from the inner thigh crease. Pressing here supports lymphatic flow and stimulates blood to the pelvic region, like unclogging a backed-up pipe. The third is between the big toe and second toe, an ancient pressure zone known to influence testosterone balance and energy levels. Raymond was skeptical, but he tried it during his nightly routine with the oil blend. No expectations, just presence. After a week, he said he noticed warmth. After 2, he called me with a chuckle mark. I woke up this morning, and so did something else. But the most surprising thing wasn't what changed physically. It was the way he started sitting taller, speaking louder. I don't feel invisible anymore. He told me, "You see, these points aren't just about nerves and vessels. They're reminders that your body still listens, that healing can begin with a simple touch, intentional, focused, and honest." Healing doesn't stop with what you put on your body. It's also about what you put into it, especially right after your ritual. That window, just after you've applied the blend, is like fresh soil after rain, ready to absorb whatever you feed it. The problem is, most men don't realize that the wrong foods can undo the very progress they've worked so hard to make. I learned this the hard way with one of my patients. Thomas, 74, a former long-haul trucker from Nebraska. He was diligent, never missed a session. He applied the castor oil and baking soda blend, activated the pressure points, even kept a journal. But something wasn't clicking. He told me, "Doc, I feel a little better." And then I slide back. So we looked at his diet. Processed meat sandwiches, canned soup, sugary soda. His body was opening up every evening, and he was closing it right back down with every bite. We made a few simple swaps. Right after each session, Thomas started drinking 6 ounces of beet juice rich in nitrates to boost nitric oxide, which improves blood flow. He added half an avocado or a hard-boiled egg, sources of healthy fats that support hormone production. A bowl of steamed spinach with garlic and olive oil. Perfect for softening arteries and reducing inflammation. And 1 small square of dark chocolate, because sometimes healing should taste good too. The changes were subtle at first. A little more energy in the mornings, a sharper memory, and then, one day, he called and said, "I didn't just sleep better last night, I woke up with hope." See, your body isn't looking for perfection. It's looking for partnership. When you support it in the moments when it's most open after the ritual, the results not only stick, they multiply. The oil is the start. But the fuel, that's what makes the engine roar. After decades of sitting across from men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s, I've come to believe something deeply. The hardest part of aging isn't physical. It's psychological. It's not the body breaking down that wounds the most. It's what we begin to believe about ourselves when it happens. I met Leonard during a lecture I gave in Denver. He was 76, a retired history professor. Smart, thoughtful, the kind of man who used to light up a classroom. But afterward, he waited until the crowd had cleared, then approached me slowly and said, "Dr. Hyman, I don't think I matter anymore." That hit me hard because I've heard it before in different words, different voices, but always the same fear and visibility. I looked him in the eye and said, "Leonard, your body listens to your beliefs. If you think you're fading, it will fade. But if you tell it you're still here, still worthy, it will respond." So I gave him a small assignment. Each night, after applying the oil blend and stimulating the pressure points, he was to place one hand on his chest, take a breath, and say, "I still matter. My story isn't over." He scoffed at first. "That's a little new age for me," he said. But 2 weeks later, he emailed me, "I'm not sure what changed, but I feel like I've stepped back into my life." He wasn't just regaining function, he was reclaiming identity. Because here's the truth: healing isn't just physical, it's emotional, it's spiritual. You can feed the body all the right things, but if the mind still thinks the best days are behind you, your body will follow. But when you begin to believe again, even just a little, your body wakes up and says, "Welcome back. Let's do this together." By now, you know the tools, you know the science. You've heard the stories of men who were once silent, uncertain, even ashamed, and who now walk with strength again. But none of that matters if it just stays as knowledge. What matters is what you do tonight. Let me tell you about Greg. He's 70, a former Navy mechanic from San Diego. Quiet guy. Worked with his hands all his life. He'd been watching my videos for months, but hadn't tried anything. I thought I'd waited too long. He said, "What if I'm the exception? What if it's just over for me?" I told him the same thing. "I'll tell you right now, it's not over. You haven't missed the window. You just haven't opened the door." So Greg made a decision. Nothing dramatic, no giant overhaul. Just one night. He mixed the castor oil with a pinch of baking soda. He warmed it in his hands. He turned off the TV. He sat down, took a breath, and began. He did it again 2 days later, then again. And then he started noticing the little things. Warmer hands, deeper sleep, a sense of calm. And after a few weeks, he said something I'll never forget. "Doc, I don't just feel better. I feel like I'm showing up for my life again." That's what this is really about. Not youth, not perfection, presence, connection, purpose. This ritual, the blend, the pressure points, the food, the belief it's more than a routine. It's a return to yourself, to the man you've always been, just waiting under the noise of time and doubt. So I'm asking you, don't wait. Start tonight. Because what's waiting for you isn't just healing, it's wholeness. If you've made it this far, I want to say something simple. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being willing to hear a different story about aging. One that isn't about giving up or fading away, but about returning to yourself in the most meaningful way. I've spent my entire career walking beside men who thought their best years were behind them. Men who felt forgotten, who were told by society, or even their own doctors, that what they were feeling was just part of getting old. But I've seen something different. I've seen healing happen, not through magic or luck or surgery, but through care, through showing up night after night with the intention to reconnect, to feel again, to believe again. This path isn't loud. It's not dramatic. It's gentle, quiet, intentional. You mix the oil. You apply the blend. You touch the pressure points. You breathe. You eat with purpose. You say the words that remind your body, I still matter. And over time, something shifts. Not all at once, but real, noticeable, and lasting. So here's your invitation. Make this yours. Let the ritual be your reminder. Let each night be a return, not to who you used to be, but to who you still are. You are not done. You are not invisible. You are not too late. You are still here, still worthy, still becoming. And that, my friend, is exactly where healing begins.